Hey lovely people, welcome back. Right, so quick video to go through Wargames Illustrated issue 419. Some great cover art on the front with what looks like a zombie here, some sort of goblin dwarf thing, and possibly a vampire in Napoleonic times. So yeah, pretty cool. Right, okay, let's have a look. Going in blind, because I haven't looked at this. So, subscriptions, Black Powder, Waterloo. Those are those miniatures that we've had recently, freebies. Right, Quick Fire, March to Madness. Short, quick read posts from WI readers about their hobby projects, notes, news and observations. So, earlier this year, North East England lost one of its gaming venues and a small but active group of players found themselves looking for a new gaming home. Okay, so that's just some information about Newcastle Warlords. So, having to change home. Minas Tirith meets Terry Minis. My main Wargames interest used to be Games Workshop's 28mm Lord of the Rings game and fantasy in general, but in recent years my interest shifted to historical, especially the Wars of the Roses. So this is just one of the readers has converted, possibly by the look of it, some of their Minas Tirith warriors into proxies for historical wargaming. Bill Hook's Bash the Third. Boards and Swords Hobby in Derby was home in September to the third Bill Hook's Bash. Okay, World War III. Team Yankee, the Cold War just got hot. Excuse me a second. Excuse me. So we've got some possibly T-72s, some Hinds, Milmy 24 Hinds. Right, observation post. Rules, supplements, figures, terrain, hobby gear and more. Under Fire miniatures, King's African Rifles. Two new sets from Under Fire here, both representing the 3rd Regiment of King's African Rifles during World War I. Okay, so some new sets there. 28mm. We then have Gringo 40's Max SOG assortment. Real treat here if you like your Vietnam miniatures. Again, these are 28mm, look like Special Forces, kind of the LRPs, Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol sort of thing. War Paint figures, Jungle Terrain here. Ammo, how to paint miniatures for war games. So this looks like a handy how-to guide. And it looks like they're going to cover most of the major gaming things here. I mean, they've got a Space Marine there. There's a Knightly Horse. Looks like possibly an English Civil War musketeer, something like that. Some English Civil War pikemen. So that looks like it could be a handy thing. There's quite a few in this one actually. Warlord Games, Epic Battles, American Civil War, Gettysburg Battle Sets. So this looks like in the same vein that they did the Napoleonic Waterloo. Looks like they're releasing the same kind of 12mm figures, were they? No, 13.5mm for the ACW. So yeah, cool. Okie dokie. Right, release radar. What do we got? Foam insert title here. I am a great lover of a really useful box for the transportation of my painted figures, but it can be a bit precarious. I'm always looking for options to reduce the risk of damage. SHQ Miniatures, SHQLimited.com, and their foam lagers might be the spongy solution. They are designed to fit into 4L and 9L boxes. So, yeah. Foam. English Civil War Anonymous. My ECW army is growing at such a rate that it will soon be a match for the parliamentarian side of Naseby. Okay, so ECW figures there. 6mm French camels and Italian armour. So World War II. This looks like it is very much the kind of epic scale here. And then these, by the look of it, 20mm at a larger scale, early war miniatures, earlywarminiatures.com. These combine to help you build the Division Leclerc. It was formed in French Equatorial Africa and harassed the Italian and German forces in southern Libya. And then we've got a selection of Italian vehicles in 28mm here. So cool. Right, sublime structures and gorgeous groundwork. That's some form of redoubt there. 20th century trench set. New to the catalogue is a redoubt. 156 scale, right, which is this. Your figures need bases. So these are basing element sets. Above and right, 2 views of the Northwood Mall MDF kit. So what's that? So we've got some jungle set basing details here. And so this is blacksitestudios.com. 2 Japanese with the jungle set, and I'm very interested to see what comes in the horror set, especially given the horror figures Black Site Studios already produced. While I'm talking about this company, I can't leave out a mention of the bonkers big Northwood Mall MDF kit. This is a gigantic piece of terrain, 34 inches by 25.5, and if you're ready to invest the time and money into it, you'll end up with an impressive multi-story shopping mall to battle through. So that looks really impressive, but 28. See, it says here, first 2 sets, jungle and streets, contain loads of characterful details for these environments and will be perfect 28, 32mm figures. But it doesn't give a terrain. I don't know. I'm assuming that's going to be 28mm, this shopping centre. So we've got how to paint German World War II. We've got some Aventine Romans, some Pendragon American War of Independence mounted militia, and then some World War I vehicles here. Full paper jacket. We have the battles that created England, 793 to 1100. Invasion, Rome against the Cimbri. Gustavus versus Wallenstein. American War of Independence, Alexander Hamilton, the Battle of Yorktown. Bloody April 1917, the birth of modern air power. Destruction of the Imperial Army, Volume 1. So, Franco-Prussian War, this one. And then World War II, Burma, a soldier's campaign in 20 objects. So that's it. That looks interesting. And then we've got the geographies of war. Geographies of war, pen and sword, stuck out from the crowd this month. Black points out that geography is a vital field for waging war. This isn't just the high school geography of where things are located on our planet, but it includes political, social, economic and cultural factors along with mapping, etc. Nice. The Silver Bayonet Society, the finale. So this was a campaign I think that they've been running through Wargames Illustrated. This is part 1. So great little setups that they're using here for basic buildings and fighting through rooms, etc. It's almost like a dungeon crawler, but with slightly more modern, kind of like Napoleonic figures. Okay, Imperial Japanese Army Platoon, World War II, 1939 to 45. This is for bolt action and chain of command and provides some house rules that add extra character. So these look like they're going to be 28mm figures. Both of these are bolt action miniatures here. Yeah. So they call it a Type 89 grenade discharger here, but essentially it's a small mortar. But we got a picture here of a US Marine wrongly thinking that the curved spade at the end of the weapon went over the thigh, and it didn't. You're likely to potentially break your leg if you did that. Yeah, the correct is place it on the ground and then do that. It's very similar to the 61mm mortar that infantry platoons have at the moment, really, to be quite honest. So, cool. And we've got some Japanese figures here. Japanese Army Medium Mortar Team, Warlord Games, and Japanese Army Anti-Tank Rifle Team, again Warlord Games. Do you know what? I was expecting a diagram just showing the order of battle for a Japanese platoon, but there isn't, which is a shame. That would have been really good. Twisted History, how to convert a steampunk gunboat. Brilliant. With all the little cogs on the side there. That is really cool. So steampunk up your water power. Right, Battle of Karam Shah, 1980, or How I Put on a Participation Game at the Joy of Six. Ian Tully describes the making of his Iran-Iraq War 6mm table rules, modifications he made for easy play, and how games played out on the Joy of Six show earlier at 2022. So these are all 6mm. Iranian chieftain here. Not many people actually know that before the Iranian Revolution, the Shah of Iran was actually quite a prolific buyer of British tanks, etc. And they had chieftains, and the tank that went on to become the Challenger 1 was originally in development for sale to Iran when the revolution took place and the sale fell through. But that looks like a really good board just there. Really good. We've got Russian, looks like a Milmy 6. Because obviously quite a lot of the air power was purchased from the Soviets for people like Iraq, etc. There's some great little miniatures, even though they're 6mm. They look fantastic. So we've got an F-14 Tomcat and an Iraqi Su-20 just there. Okay. Painting Mark's little soldiers. So these are kind of probably traditionally painted soldiers that kids might have bought back in the day, prior to things like Airfix, I suppose. But yeah, just looking at various bits and pieces. This is just a guide on what one person has done. With man's blood, paint the ground gules, or gules. What's this? Never mind the bill hooks. Oh, there's some Eastern morale. So this looks like medieval. Tudor times, maybe, something like that. Brilliant, lovely casualties, actually, casualty markers. Pulp Q&A. Right, what's this? As a part of our Twisted History theme, we talk to Marco Arnaldo about his forthcoming Osprey skirmish game Pulp. He discusses his game's development mechanics and the benefits and challenges of gaming in the Pulp genre. So this looks like it's kind of like an anime type mashup. Looking at some of the artwork here. And then we've got a woolly mammoth here, and then somebody on a motorcycle and bits and pieces. Cool. Thematic fun and simple systems. This is obviously an interview with Marco. With him just talking about it. Kind of like an indie steampunk kind of mashup thing. Right, painting Templars. So, Templar Knights. Painting the white tabards, etc. Painting dirty white technique. Weathering the cloth, going through how they did that. So, great little painting article here. And then how they did the Crusader shields. And added in the battle damage. And the minis look good. They look really good. Old Dog, New Tricks, Twisted History. So what's this one? Twisting 1980s history to create a Cold War gone hot is a popular pastime for wargamers. Here David Bickley talks us through the trials and tribulations of gathering forces together for a what-if British Army of the Rhine versus Soviet Army tabletop encounter. Looks cool. That looks like a 1-ton Land Rover there, standard Land Rovers. This looks like it's Soviets this side. This is a 6'6" by 6 foot board. So we've got Soviets this side, we've got Brits this side. I can see a Lynx there. So that's probably going to be fitted with TOW, the 4 TOW anti-tank missiles that would have been in a quad launcher on each side. And then we've got Chieftain, a couple of Chieftains. So yeah, that looks cool. Japanese invasion of Manchuria here. So this looks like it is it pre-war? Some of my fellow wargamers saw this as an ill-founded project that might produce at best a game based on the Japanese and Russian clash at Khalkhin Gol in 1938. Nice buildings, the way they've done the like the pagodas here and the pagoda gardens. But you've got like the were they called Japanese Chiha tanks, Type 97s or something? Okay. So yeah, it's a nice little scenario there. You're on the Empire of the book. Club focus, the Friends of General Haig. Regular readers will recall our photo session from WI417 that featured the rather splendid World War II Desert War collection by Dave James. The photos for that article were taken during a gathering of Friends of General Haig, the affectionate name given to the Worcester Wargames Club. Whilst shooting Dave's Desert War collection, it would have been remiss of us to ignore the other games being played around the clubhouse, so here we present a club focus on several of the other eye-catching games on display. So there you go, focus on one of the clubs, this one from Worcester. Something that's just caught my eye is this clear base stand, tumbling dice by the look of it, and this is a squadron combat box in 1/600 scale aircraft and flight bases. Now it looks like they've got liberators or privateers. I can never remember which one's which. One is essentially the same airframe, but the tail is different. So for one you have a twin tail and the other one is just a single, and one is known as a liberator and the other one's a privateer. I can never remember which one's which, but it looks like those are liberators or privateers in the combat box formation, which was designed to allow for the release of your bombs but also provide defensive fire against fighters. And then I think you've got the last couple of pages of adverts. So there you go, that was White Dwarf, sorry, not White Dwarf, Wargames Illustrated, issue 419. And I'll hopefully see you in the next video. All right, take care, bye-bye.